Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Digital Bromads. I am Steve.
And I am Jack, episode 1.
Since this is our first episode, we'd like to do a little bit of introductions just so you guys know who we are. I'm Steve. I'm currently calling from Cape Town, South Africa. Jack and I are both full-time digital nomads, which means we work remotely and travel the world. We've been doing this for about 5 years now, which is crazy to say. In the way that we do the nomad thing, I feel like we each have a different approach to it. For me, I like to plan things out several months at a time. I usually will live in Airbnbs for about a month, maybe 6 weeks. Jack, what's your approach, would you say?
Yeah, I'm pretty disorganized, to be honest, but I think it fits my personality. I like to kind of, just randomly choose places based on where I'm at and kind of convenience. So it definitely lends itself to having different experiences, but we seem to arrive at similar conclusions.
Yeah. And, Jack and I kind of started this journey together. 5 years ago, we were living in Denver, Colorado, and we were at happy hour, which is where, good ideas, I think, come from happy hour.
Yeah.
And Jack kind of brought the idea up, right?
Yeah, a few drinks in, you can convince anyone of anything. It's just crazy that it's 5 years later and we're still doing it. We spent
Yeah.
less time in college.
Whoa, that is weird. Yeah. Jack was just like, hey, man, our jobs are fully remote now. We should be digital nomads. And I was like, what's that? You kind of told me. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to renew my lease in Denver then.
And now hopefully we
send
can
it.
have a similar effect, right? We're like, okay, maybe people will watch this podcast and be like, wow, I should do that too.
Exactly. Anyone can do
Or
it,
you might
even
be like,
us.
no. You might be like, I don't want to go through what they've gone through, and that's okay too.
And that's fine. But we're here to kind of tell our stories and maybe inspire some people or uninspire some people. Another kind of fun story is how we actually met each other, right? Studying abroad.
We both randomly decided to study in Prague, Czech Republic, right? And at least for me, that's kind of where I felt like the travel bug started a little bit. I was like, I didn't even know where Prague was on the map. But then you get over there, it's like, okay, this is fine. They have roads and food and hotels. It's pretty easy. Like, this is great.
Yeah, no, same. That's where it all started for me as well. I remember getting off the train in Prague and looking around, and I was like, wow, there's a much bigger world out there than just Kansas. Maybe I should see some more of it. And it was funny, we were roomed together in Prague because we both went to the same college. We both were at K-State, but we didn't actually know each other at K-State. We met each other in Prague. And then, as you like to say, we've just been hanging out ever since. So
Yeah, we came back to college. I was like, I think we should just stick to being friends. That was good.
yeah, good
Yeah.
decision. All right, well, that's enough of that. Maybe we should get into some of our segments here. We're going to try a few different things. We don't really know what we're doing, but we do have some good content and some good ideas, I think. So we're going to test some stuff out and see what works. First up, we have our Nomad Nightmares. So Jack and I both got some stories from the internet, travel related, travel fails, as the kids are saying, or maybe they don't say that anymore. But we're gonna tell some of these stories, and yeah, I'm just gonna pass it over to you, Jack, because I think you got a good one from one of our favorite airlines, Ryanair, who seems to come up with some good stories, I think, quite often.
Truly, and I actually mean that. Like, I'm kind of a budget airline guy. You can get around the world pretty easily with some of these airlines, but sometimes, they throw you a curveball and you got to figure out how you're going to roll with that, right? And so these friends, these Irish people from Cork, they want to go to Germany and because there's some famous carnival event for the weekend, right? So we've all done that. Okay, we're going to fly somewhere for the weekend. We're going to have a great time because of some event, and we're going to come back, And so their plan was, they're leaving on November 10th and they're returning on November 13th, right? And everything's set. They booked their flights. They have regular jobs, so they took time off. They got their hotel room all booked and everything, and they're taking Ryanair, right? I mean, I think Ryanair is an Irish airline, so they're kind of sticking
Yeah, I
with.
think they're headquartered in Dublin. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're kind of sticking with what they got, right? And so anyway, like the day before, that they're supposed to leave, the airline decides to reschedule their flights, right? And so the craziest part is they reschedule their flight to leave following day at 6:30 a.m., okay? And then their flight back to Ireland leaves that same day at 9:40 a.m. in Germany. So they actually arrive in Germany at 9:15 a.m. So they have a total of, 30 minutes in Germany to be able to experience this carnival, right? And obviously Ryanair, they're trying to be good guys, right? And they're like, okay, well, you can reschedule, your flights, or you can cancel, and we'll, give you your money back. But it's one of those things. You want to go to this carnival, you already took time off, like you're trying to do this, right? And so it's kind of funny that they would even consider, okay, well, you're going to have a round trip flight that's multiple hours long, and you only have 25 to 30 minutes to experience what's going on in Germany. And I don't even know if you can like leave the airport, with 25 minutes. I think the
Probably
best thing
not.
you can do is, get your camera out on the flight and try to take some photos of the city. I mean, that's
Yeah.
really, like, what can you possibly do in a situation like that?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's a classic budget airline thing. It's like, why don't you guys just cancel the flight? You don't have to do a 30
Yeah.
minute trip.
It's almost like a slap in the face. Like, who's taking that? Like, I want to know, like, who said, okay, you know what? That's
They're
worth it.
testing.
Like, that's
Yeah.
all I needed. Maybe they just never been to Germany and they want to get that stamp or something, or,
Yeah.
check it off their list, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I wonder what you could actually do in 25 minutes. Like, could you get down there? Could you like grab a pretzel? Could you get a beer? Like, could you, go to the city, drink a beer, and come back? I don't know. It would be very difficult.
Last time I was in a German airport, they actually sold Frankfurters, like hot dog wieners in the airport. And I was just there for a layover, but to try to experience Germany, I got one of those Frankfurters in the airport to kind of, so maybe that's something that they could do. Just get, maybe get an airport beer, get an airport wiener, and then, call it good.
Yeah, and the article is hilarious too, right? Because they go, yeah, well, we're going to get you to your destination briefly, and it's like, yeah, that's pretty brief. I mean, I imagine your layover must have been more than 25 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was. So,
But,
but,
I guess, make lemons
yeah.
out of lemonade somehow, right? Or, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I probably just wouldn't take the trip, and I'd probably be a little bit mad at Ryanair. But I will say this, I'm a big fan of Ryanair. I know you said you're a fan of budget airlines. They've actually gone up in my book, like above some of the American budget airlines. Like Frontier has been big time sticklers recently with the bags, and they've just kind of become a little bit psycho. So they're kind of on my shit list right now. Last time I was in the airport, flying Frontier, they were charging everyone for bags, and it was quite the scene. You're seeing full grown men like yelling at these people. He's like, "What's your name? What's your name? I'm going to report you." All this kind of
Like, I'm a
stuff.
literal making minimum wage, bro.
And the worker is like, "Yeah, you can report me to my boss, who's telling me to do this. Like this comes from above me. Like I'm not. Of course, that person doesn't want to be shitty. Like this is what they were trained to do. They're trained to be assholes and charge people for all this stupid shit."
I'm sure they're like thinking to themselves the same thing, like, wow, this is crazy, but that's how they get you, Every time I get that motion, you're about to like get your boarding pass scan, and you look over and they got like the thing with the bag, you're fucked.
Oh
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? It's over.
So Frontier has been doing that on like every flight now, whereas you used to be able to get away with it. But now it's like after they charge you for the extra stuff, then the flight isn't cheap anymore. But Ryanair, surprisingly, has not been sticklers about random little things like that the last few times I've flown with them. I mean, I flew from Portugal to France to Bordeaux. It was round trip like $20. I think like one of the one ways was like $7. So you can't really beat that. And yeah, like you said, it's kind of a risk every once in a while. You could get your flight changed to be a 30-minute, trip, but it was super worth it for the $20 flight to France when I took it. So Ryanair is good in my book right now. And they do have a hilarious Twitter where they're they kind of shit on themselves because like they know they're a budget airline and they kind of lean into that. So they have this kind of self-deprecating humor, which I really appreciate.
That's good. They know where they stand, You got to know your market. Like, yeah, I'm sure the Frankfurter, Steve, is more expensive than the $7 flight. So,
dude, I think it was, and it wasn't very good. I gotta say, like you should probably leave the airport if you want a good Frankfurter. This one was like a weird color, and it wasn't great.
Damn. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's kind of surprising a little bit. I feel like they got, they got to be experts at that kind of thing. But airport
That's
food
what
is
I
always
thought.
tough. Like,
Yeah, it was sus. So,
definitely a new meaning of touch and go, you could say.
you could say, yeah.
But Steve, I mean, I kind of covered the nomad nightmare from the air. Do you have anything, maybe from the land that we could discuss?
Yeah, yeah, I can kind of be our boots on the ground here. So, you know, as I said before, I'm a pretty big Airbnb guy. I've lived in Airbnbs pretty much for the past 5 years. I spend a lot of time on the app. Sometimes some of the funniest things that I see on Airbnb are the reviews. So there's some hilarious reviews. People can be really overly dramatic, but what's even better is when the host responds. So I was looking at some Airbnbs in Florida the other day, just for
Great
fun.
state.
Seemed like a good place to get some good reviews. And there's this guy named Nico, and after we edit this, maybe we can show these on the screen because they're pretty hilarious. His emoji usage is solid.
Oh, wow, okay.
So a lot of the responses I feel like on Airbnb, like when the host responds to the negative reviews, like they can be really passive aggressive. Like sometimes they're trying to be professional, you can tell, but you can also tell like they're super pissed off. There's some good ones, but this guy is just pretty straightforward. But he goes from sarcastic to just straight up kind of, I guess, just being mean to people. I don't know, but yeah, here we'll read some of these off. So
Okay, cool.
so this one is a 2-star review. This person said it's a comfortable spot for 1 to 2 days. If you stay more than that, it's very uncomfortable. Things are missing from what was described in the listing, and the host didn't answer the messages I sent them. Okay, 2-star review. So Nico, the host, responds and says, "Glad you had a great time. Heart emoji. Please come back soon. Please come back soon. Palm tree emoji."
So just completely disregards the complaints.
Yeah.
Just doesn't. I guess that's what he did, right? He disregarded the messages, and now he's disregarding the review. So
Exactly.
at least
Yeah.
he's consistent. I appreciate that.
This next one, this person said the pool was empty and there were 2 cockroaches in the bathroom. There was no soap and there was no shampoo. I'm not kidding. Okay, I didn't think you were. Obviously, I won't come back. And then Nico says, "We will miss you," with like a sad face emoji with like one teardrop.
I literally cockroaches do scare me, but we've all been there.
100%.
Like that's kind of part of traveling, like especially when you go to these tropical places, like you kind of have no choice. Like, so you got to
100%.
toughen up a little bit, or you got to go stay at the Four Seasons. I don't know.
Exactly. And this was kind of a
So
budget
far, I'm
spot.
Team Nico's reviews.
So Nico, okay, let's see. Another one of his responses, he just told the person, "You are ridiculous." This one, the person said, the review says, "Somewhat claustrophobic, no windows." Nico says, "There are two windows. OMG, you're so dramatic and a liar. Ha ha ha, shame on you."
Oh my! Do Airbnb hosts get in, like? Is he a super host? Like, do you actually like? Do his responses like? You know?
If people could upvote his responses.
Yeah, it's like, wait, no, this guy's great. Like, I want to stay here. You know?
No, he's definitely not a super host. But these things are funny because it's kind of a he said, she said, right? You don't get any more than just the review and the host response. Like the reviewer like can't reply again and you can't keep getting a bunch of rebuttals. It's just the two things. So you got to pick a side really and figure out, because one person's usually lying and you just got to figure out who might be lying.
And hopefully, if there's a lot of reviews, you can kind of like figure out like.
Yeah, you can read their other reviews and see what their history is. Nico does not have a great history. I will say that. So
okay, so really, okay, he's digging himself a hole. Okay.
Yeah, so, last but not least, I like this one. This person left the review and said, "Everything was fine as far as the area is concerned. Great local amenities, easy to get there, easy to find the place," and left a 2-star review. So didn't really say anything negative in the actual comment, but left 2 stars. And Nico says, "If everything was great, why'd you put 2 stars? What a clown."
I mean, the what a clown was not necessary, but I do kind of feel that. Like, if you're going to give someone a 2-star review, like,
I know,
like,
it is kind of a clown move.
Yeah, that's like, what are you talking about? Like,
but yeah, calling someone a clown on a public forum like that it's quite
was
the
it
move.
The clown emoji, Steve, or just straight up the word? Because the clown emoji
It
kind
was
of gets me a little bit. Like,
the clown emoji is good. He actually put the eye roll emoji where like the eyes are like up, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he has great emoji body language. I feel like I know what Nico looks like now.
Exactly. Yeah. It puts more emotion. I mean, I guess that's why they're called emojis, emoticons. Yeah. Right. It really adds emotion to what he's saying. So
that's a tough thing about Airbnb. I mean, like, and it's impossible for Airbnb to like be the arbiter of truth. You know, like how could they? There's just too many Airbnbs. There's, it's a tough situation. Like,
oh, dude, if you ever call to complain about anything to Airbnb, like they always will say, like, work it out with the host. Like, you guys need to work it out together. Like, we're not going to get involved. Like, they will do everything, which makes sense. Like you said, there's so many Airbnbs, they can't like get involved in every little, dispute. So they always want you to figure it out between each other first.
And maybe because I've only been a tenant and not a host, I'm biased to thinking they always err on the side of like the host, like if they do anything,
Yeah, they might. Yeah, it is. I don't know.
That's kind of like full circle. Sometimes hotels are great because they're like professional establishments.
Right. An Airbnb host could just be like your neighbor Rick, who like doesn't know anything about hospitality. He may not have an education. Who knows who this guy could be?
Yeah,
he could have a criminal background for all we know. I don't know if Airbnb checks that. Maybe they do.
I hope they do, honestly.
All right, so that's enough for Nico and the gang. I have a Reddit story, also Airbnb related. I'm just going to tell this one, and this is from the host's perspective. So again, take that with a grain of salt. See what you think. I'm just going to read what they wrote. This was from some Reddit thread about, Airbnb horror stories or something like that. So this person Just to set the stage, so this Airbnb, this host lives in San Diego. Okay. The guest that they're talking about in this story traveled from Tijuana, Mexico. So I'm guessing they just drove over the border because they needed to catch a flight to Seattle for a birthday party. So I'm guessing Tijuana didn't fly directly to Seattle, so they had to drive to San Diego to catch a flight to Seattle.
Pro traveler
So
move, in my opinion.
yeah, I'm doing something similar for Coachella, as I mentioned to you, flying into Tijuana and then going because it's cheaper. But anyway, so here's how the story starts. I had a mom and daughter traveling from Tijuana, Mexico to San Diego for a flight to Seattle for a birthday party. I speak an okay amount of Spanish and have hosted plenty of Spanish-only guests with no communication problems. But this was something else. My Airbnb is just for one bedroom in my condo, but 8 people showed up. I told them the space was only for 2 people, and they asked if the other family members could sleep on the floor in my kitchen and living room. I said no, and the other 6 members departed, and just Granny and her daughter stayed. I proceeded to hang out in the kitchen, talking with them while I tried to install a new dishwasher. While I was doing that, they called every family member in Tijuana to introduce me to all their sisters and cousins. Now, this part
That's
I'm
nice,
about to
man.
read is I think the craziest part of the story, and they just kind of gloss over it real quick. But to me, this is the weirdest part of the story. And then they go on and talk about all this other shit, and I'll say all that, but this part right here is something that shouldn't be overlooked. Okay,
Okay.
Granny was too big to use my toilet, so the daughter asked me for a bucket for Granny to pee in.
I feel like
I
buckets
don't.
are like just as big as toilets, by the way.
Right? Yeah.
Like what? Like what kind of bucket are you getting? Like
I didn't have a bucket, so I gave her a small trash can. In my living room, in my living room, Granny proceeded to piss in the trash can using a female urine contraption.
what does that mean?
I don't know, like a fake penis or something? Like
Wow, a female urine contraption turns out to be a fake penis. That would be so
a
funny.
female urine contraption. I don't know what that means, but I'm picturing something
We're
that
gonna need to
maybe
see
resembles a penis. Yeah.
what the wait, why didn't she do it in the bathroom though? Like why do you have to do it
Yeah,
in the living
why the living
Why-
room?
Yeah, or like the garage or like something, you know? Like
Look, man, my experience of being a man with a penis my entire life is, when I
yeah,
pee into a urinal, there's some backsplash. Like
100%.
I'm feeling some like there's a mist in the air sometimes, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like you need those
Or
cakes. You put one of those cakes in the
yeah,
trash can, you know, little absorption.
I always try to aim for whatever would be like the most shock absorbing, right? Like I don't want to just pee against the back of the wall because that's going to come back at me.
And I don't want to
So
sound like insensitive when I say this, but like I feel like it's easier to aim with a penis when you're peeing because it's like more directional, you know? Like
yeah.
and
Mhm.
now obviously
Yeah,
I don't know, you know, I'm like you, I've been a penis guy my whole life, but
yeah.
like I feel like it would be messier. That's why, you know?
Well, yeah. Well, that's why she got the female urine contraption. So I think
Oh,
that
right,
helped.
right.
Yeah, I think that helped with the aiming. But still, in the living room, I would just be worried about some backsplash,
The
or like
rug,
just trying to
the couch.
enjoy like lounging in my living room watching TV and just knowing that like a grandma like pissed in a trash can in that same room would be not very comforting.
God, wow, what? That's so, yeah. What is going on? We got to figure out. Maybe it's like a funnel, you know, like a funnel used for cooking,
That's what I'm
like
picturing. Yeah.
something like that. Like, geez. So
Yeah.
did the granny bring this contraption with her?
Yeah. Go
She's
ahead.
like, look, I'm a large woman. I know I'm going to have to do this. Like, this is something I pack with me.
I'm
Like,
guessing that, yeah, I think it's a normal thing for her. Some people might bring their nose spray. Or maybe like a sleeping mask, to help them sleep at night if they go on a trip. She brings
Right.
her female urine contraption just in case.
Wow. Does
So,
she like wash it out in the?
I'll tell the rest of the story. It's
Okay. You know what
See,
I'm
that's the
saying?
other
Like,
gross thing. Like, I wouldn't want that in my dishwasher with all my other stuff that I like eat out of.
yeah, Granny's like eyeing it. What did you say earlier? The guy's fixing the dishwasher. Like, she's like, okay, well, I'll be able to put this in there after I'm done. Like,
Perfect. We can test out the new dishwasher with this.
yeah, let's see how clean it gets. I haven't cleaned it in a while. Like,
It's yellow now, but it actually used to be white when I first got it. But we'll see how it looks after the new dishwasher. Actually, it's
wow.
brown. I don't know.
Honestly, though, too, if I'm bringing that around, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to need to make some life changes. I'm going to need it. This is one step too far for me, But I need to
You
be
might
more
be too late.
self-sufficient. I'm pissing out of a penis in a trash can. Like, I need to change.
Got to
what's
make a
going on.
change.
Yeah.
Something tells me Granny I think she's set in her ways. I feel like she's good. She's like, I'm comfortable with the contraption at this point. I'm just going to keep
Yeah.
living this way for my last few years here.
Can't teach an old dog new tricks. This is what I do.
Right.
Yeah. Now, okay, I don't want to like keep going on this, but I got one more question. Is like,
Yeah.
so they're getting on a flight, right? Does she need 2 tickets?
Oh my God.
First
I would guess
class?
at least, I would guess at least 2 tickets, but
If you can't shit in a toilet or pee in a toilet, there's no way you're fitting into
toilets,
like, the Ryanair seat. You know what I mean?
right? Or the
That ain't
Ryanair
happening.
toilet.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you better hold it. Like, and what do you do in the airport? What if you have to pee in the airport? There's so many logistical problems with what's going on, dude. They should have
But
rented a
wait,
car.
why didn't she go into the toilet? Why did it need to be a trash? If she has the contraption, can't she aim the contraption into a toilet and not the bucket?
Maybe it was one of those half baths that are just like so tiny,
Oh, she
like
can't even fit in the bathroom, maybe.
yeah,
Yeah.
in the room. Like, she just can't
Mhm.
get in there, you know? Wow.
Right.
Mexico is
This
really
this is
catching up to us in a lot of metrics
yeah.
here.
I think this has left us with more questions than answers, but we'll do some research later, and maybe on the next episode we can kind of
We'll
lay
reach
that
out to
out.
the reporter. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna get through the rest of the story. I don't know if it's gonna be as interesting, but I'll get through it, and we'll see how it goes. So they asked me if I could drive them to the airport in the morning. I told them I couldn't, as I have a truck and it's only 2 seats.
Oh,
Daughter
we
said,
know you can't.
Grant,
We know that ain't gonna work. Yep. Maybe we put her in the back. Okay. Yeah.
that's what they say. Daughter said Granny could ride in the truck bed, but I told them that was illegal in the U.S. Okay, Barb.
Which honestly, if I wouldn't want that, I wouldn't want someone riding in the back of my truck on the interstate, or
No,
something.
you don't want Granny flopping out of there. I mean, that could be dangerous. She could like wreck, the windshield behind her. She could go, wreck a car if she falls out of there. So yeah, you don't want her
And
falling out.
Southern California, notorious bad traffic, crazy drivers. Not the place you want to do that.
True. Very true. So smart on the host for denying that request.
Wait, Steve. Okay, one more thing. How did they
Yeah.
get? Like, did they have a vehicle to? How did they get to the Airbnb once they crossed the border?
That I don't know. It wasn't mentioned. They do get in an Uber here next. So we at least know that she can get into an Uber. So the next day she asked me to book her an Uber and said she'd pay me back. I told her how much it would be and she asked if that was in pesos or dollars. I told her dollars and she flipped at how expensive it was. Which I got to side with the guest on this. If there's one major difference between Latin America and the United States, it's the Uber prices. Am I right, Jack?
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
I mean, it would be the same Uber cost in the US. It would probably be like $20 and it would be $2 in, Mexico, Peru, something like that. And that's not even an exaggeration.
Right. So I understand that she's a little bit shocked. Like,
Yeah.
okay, wow, this is crazy. I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. It is crazy.
Story goes, she asked if she could pay me in pesos. I said no. She gave me cash, which was $5 less than needed, but whatever. The next morning, she told me to order an Uber in 10 minutes. 10 minutes later, I ordered it and said it was 5 minutes away. She freaked because she wasn't packed yet. The Uber driver arrived and I told him the situation while he hung out. Daughter was flying all over the place, packing shit. They had 8 bags of luggage.
Wow.
She insisted the driver was going to take her to the wrong airport. I told her there was only one airport in San Diego. She demanded I tell the driver where to go, so I told him what to do and said that the guests don't speak English, but if he has any troubles, to just call me. The driver said, okay. They were finally ready to leave.
Really nice, by the way.
A saint, I think, right?
Really
I mean,
nice.
assuming this story's true, right? But
right.
Yes. They were finally ready to leave, and the daughter gave me her number and told me to call her next time I go to Tijuana. I said okay and sent them off. 20 minutes later, my phone is blowing up while I'm on my way to work. They forgot a piece of luggage in the closet and asked me to drive it to the airport.
Oh my gosh.
I told them I couldn't do that, but I did turn around and took it out of the apartment and left it outside so they could come back in the Uber and pick it up.
Yeah, okay. Reasonable.
Yeah, which is still like going above, like she didn't need to do that. Like you guys left it there. Like she's going to work. Like that's your own fault. But yeah, that was still nice of her to do. So here's the ending. At the end of the day, the daughter messaged me on Airbnb, letting me know that they made it to Seattle. She continued messaging me throughout the week, updating me on their trip and what they were doing in Seattle. And here's the final kicker. They left a 4-star review. So not even 5 stars, a 4-star review.
Oh my God. That would get me.
The host let you piss in her trash can and you left a 4-star.
Her living room.
Yeah.
And probably wash it. We don't know that. We don't know,
Some of the comments were like, it's always the neediest guests that leave a 4-star review instead of like if you would have let the people, her 8 family members sleep in your kitchen, if you would have driven them to the airport, which is not in your job. Like you put an Airbnb listing for 2 people in 1 room. That's all you have. That's your only job. You don't have to drive people to the airport, bring them their forgotten luggage, or like hold their urinary contraption while they're peeing. Like you don't need to hold it for them, but like I think she did. I just made that up.
Wow. No, we can roll with that though. Like she held the urinary contraption for them. They put it in their dishwasher, like newly fixed dishwasher. And this is the other thing too, is like, I could never do an Airbnb that's like the guests are staying like where I'm also staying. Like, I don't want to know about that. Like, I want to be like, give me the keys. Okay, see ya. Like, call me if the shower doesn't work. Like, but I don't want to be in there. Like, I'm in the other room, watching, some show and they're over there pissing in the living room. Like, I don't want to know that. Like,
and I think that's why she said, no, you can't sleep in my kitchen and living room, because like that was the host's space, right? I think it's maybe a shared space, right? But it's not for people to be sleeping in. Like that's still her kitchen at the end of the day.
Yeah. Sometimes maybe a little awareness. I don't know if I want to say cultural differences. I feel like we both spent enough time in Mexico. Like, I don't think that it's that different, No,
there's a lot of great. I mean, we love Mexico.
I love Mexico.
Don't want anyone to think we're hating on Mexico. I just read a story. We love Mexico. I love the Mexican people. I love being there. Yeah, there are some cultural differences, but not everyone is a urinary contraptor or whatever. Yeah. So,
and we still don't know what the fly situation was, We still don't know
Yeah.
how that flight worked, you know? And did they end up going to the right airport? Like,
The only airport he could have gone to besides San Diego is Tijuana. So maybe that was their concern. They're like, he's trying to deport us, like take us back
back to
to
where we
Mexico.
started, you know?
Yeah.
The other thing, this is the other thing that I don't understand, you know? And Steve, you're a planner. You know, it's like, look, like, okay, if you're coming from Tijuana to get a flight in San Diego, why do you even need to get the Airbnb in San Diego? Why not just like either stay in Tijuana that night, like, which would be way cheaper,
Yeah.
you know, and like go to the airport in the morning from Tijuana. Like maybe you're worried about border crossing, you know, taking a long time.
Yeah.
To be honest, I've never
I don't
done that,
know.
but it's like, I don't know. Like I feel like there could have been, there's an angle there.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the story was there. Yeah, I assumed it was because of convenience for the flight, but it's like Tijuana is just like 30
You can
minutes. Like
walk
it's not like
across the bridge.
yeah. Yeah, which I've done. Like it was pretty smooth. But then again, like I'm a US citizen. I know that it's different for other people trying to come into the States. So yeah, maybe they could have run into an issue and they wanted to make sure that they could get across first.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. So, you know, especially if you're kind of a little bit, hey, the Uber is expensive. Well, I'm sure the Airbnb wasn't cheap.
it's, probably could have canceled out. Yeah, a lot of questions with that one.
You know, you bring 8 bags for the weekend. They better have
Dude,
been all present, you know?
yeah, I don't know.
I think these
Okay.
people need to listen to our podcast. They need some travel tips, Steve. You know?
They do. They do. You know what? Listen to our podcast, whoever you are from Tijuana, and we're experts here. We'll help you guys out.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be a good learning experience. You know, it's all good. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's enough story time for me. We're going to move on to Nomad Hacks. So, this is where Jack and I actually get to drop the knowledge that we just alluded to. Like we said, you know, Jack and I have been nomading around, traveling, working remote for 5 years now. That's longer than most people do that kind of thing. I don't even. So, we consider ourselves somewhat of experts, as much as you can be an expert in anything. So we do have a lot of tips that we've learned over these years. So Jack, you have a really good one that you kind of mentioned to me, and I would love for you to share that about the fake one-way tickets.
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, since I'm a little bit more ad hoc with my traveling, you know, I don't have, a lot of times I don't have like you know, a flight to leave when I go to a country, right? But typically to get into a country, they want to know that you're going to eventually leave. They want, you know, whether it's because you have a visa, it only lasts for 30 days, or just because, you know, they're not trying to have people just fly in and never leave their country. But for
They
me,
want
it's like,
proof of a return flight, right?
proof
Proof
of
of a
return,
return.
right? Yeah, yeah. But my problem is I'm definitely leaving your country. I just don't know how I'm leaving your country. That's kind of my thing. And so what I like to do instead is I'll spend $10, $20 on a service like onewayfly.com, and they will essentially write a fake airline ticket for me so that I can either get past the airline check-in or customs when I land. And so it's like, you know, and I don't really feel too disingenuous about it, but it's like, okay, yeah, you're going to leave on this date that matches up with how long you're going to stay. Okay, thank you very much. And it just makes a lot of sense for someone like me who maybe isn't exactly sure where they're going next, right? So you can kind of book a fake one-way ticket once you leave. And so I think that's just a little tip in case, you know, there's some people like me out there, right?
And it's cheap, right? You said it's only like $10 for the
Yeah.
fake one-way ticket.
Yeah, 10, $20 or something like that. And I think it depends on what service you use. And they'll do stuff like, you know, oh, a connecting flight, you know, if you need like a ticket, you know, they can do all sorts of different combinations. So, because sometimes you even have a problem where, oh, I got this I got this ticket out, but that ticket out is a one-way ticket to a different country that doesn't allow you to also, and so it's like, oh, maybe I'll get a one-way ticket back to America because, you know, I'm an American citizen, So
And and you said sometimes like you'll go up to the counter and they're like, you need a return ticket, and you're like, okay, let me go buy one real quick, and you just kind of turn around and get on your phone and buy the fake thing, kind of like right in front of them.
yeah, it's crazy, right? And it's a legitimate flight. It's like it's the flight numbers match, the flight times match, everything works. It looks real, but it is kind of funny. It's like they don't really verify that, so it's like you could probably just kind of carry around a piece of paper or like print off a document and do it yourself.
Mhm.
But I'd rather just take a little bit extra precaution, right?
I wonder if you tried to use one of those fake ones to board an actual flight. There's no way it would work, right?
Yeah, I don't know. They can add like a fake barcode there. Yeah, I'm sitting co-pilot. I think that's my seat. Yeah.
That might have to be a new segment for our podcast. See if we can board a flight with a fake ticket.
And Ryanair like stops me at the gate, not because the ticket's fake, but my bag's too big.
Yeah. They're like, your
Yeah, we
ticket's
got
fine, but your bag,
yeah, that's not gonna fly.
literally.
Dang, I should have added that. I should have added that to my fake ticket. My bad.
That's good. Okay. What else anything else about that we need to talk about?
No, that was good. I think people get the gist of that. It's a kind of a straightforward one, and maybe we can kind of talk about. This is something that I actually need to do, and I think everyone should do what Steve's about to say. This is a solid tip. I love it.
Yeah. So, as I've already said like 8 times, I'm an Airbnb guy. And so, something I've been doing is taking videos of my Airbnb before I check out. So, kind of like with a rental car, right? You need proof, show that there's no damage. The reason that I started doing this was because I did actually have an incident in Puerto Rico. So when I first started nomading, I had checked out. It was a beautiful beach spot in Puerto Rico. I'll never forget that spot. But I had checked out. I'm already off in some other different random country, wherever I am, and my host sends me a video. My host is in New York, by the way. Um, but my host sends me this video with the message and says, "What happened to the apartment?" And it looks like someone had dumped trash just like all over the. It looks like they took the trash can and just dumped trash all over the floor.
Like, no way a regular person is going to be like, oh, I just look. There's like a broken TV on the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. She says, "What happened?" I'm like, "Really? You're professionally gaslighting me right now?" It wasn't even beyond something that would be beyond the normal cleaning fee. Like their staging of it like wasn't even that good.
Just a
You
bunch of
know,
dirt and gross stuff. Like you're like, I didn't
it's
even eat
just
fruit roll-ups.
yeah, yeah. Like if you're gonna stage it, at least like break something or do something that actually requires an extra additional fee. So
Yeah,
this
full
wasn't
send
even
it.
the what?
Full send it. Don't
I'll send
half-ass
it.
it.
This was
Yeah.
very half-ass. So I'm being gaslighted or gaslit by my host. And I was just like, what are we doing? You're really trying to nickel and dime me here. So I did reach out to Airbnb and they were like, don't worry about it. If she writes you a bad review, we'll just take it off of your record, which was very chill. I think we just ended up not writing her a review. And then I don't remember. This was so many years ago now, but if she did write us a bad review or whatever, Airbnb removed it for us and we never paid any additional fee or whatever she was trying to get out of us.
And the
Um,
funniest part is she had to clean up that mess. You had to clean
right.
up your own mess. You just pissed off the people that you work for, that work
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I got the Airbnb cleaning service. They made me trash it. Now I got to clean it up again. Are you kidding me? I got
Plus,
other
it
stuff.
wasn't the host. Maybe it was the cleaning people trying to get something. Maybe it wasn't on the host. I don't know. But someone was being sketch. Yeah. But I haven't had an incident since, but it only takes that one time, right? So ever since then, every time before I check out of an Airbnb, I always film everything, make sure that everything's intact so no one tries to pull a fast one on me like that.
That's a pro move. I mean, it kind of goes back to a little bit what we were talking about earlier. It's hard for Airbnb to kind of decide who's right, but if you take that video, that's huge in your favor, right?
Exactly. It's huge, right? It's like going to court
You know,
or something.
I mean, these Airbnb cleaning fees and all these other service fees are crazy already. It's like, come on, like you're being ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
you're not going
So
to build a sustainable business by pissing people off. Like it doesn't
right,
work.
right. Exactly. I was like, just up the price of your Airbnb if you're gonna nickel
Yeah, if
and
you're
dime
not happy
people and
with the
just
pay,
yeah, have some integrity. Come on.
and that would be like, yeah. I wonder if they like. It'd be funny. It's like, man, these people like they didn't make enough trash. We're gonna have to import some trash. Like, go to the neighbors, ask for their trash.
Right. Yeah, we didn't even have that much trash in the place. I was like, where did you guys get this shit?
Yeah, like we're like knocking on doors, going down to the dumpster. Like, okay, yeah, let's get some of this out. We got to stage this before the trash day comes later. You know,
Literally
then
brought
they miss
trash into
trash
the
day.
place. Anyway, so that was fun. And yeah, hey guys, any listeners out there, all two of you, since this is our first episode, if you have any hacks, any travel advice, nomad hacks that you want us to talk about, feel free to send those in to us via Instagram or TikTok. We'd love to share what you guys have to say as well.
Or if you have a weird situation you're in, you just kind of want a different take on it. Like you went with this approach, maybe we would have done it differently. Maybe not.
Yeah, kind of like how we told the horror stories earlier. If you guys have any, fails, any terrible, stories, we'd love to share those. We can give you advice. We can just laugh about it. And you guys can laugh at us too. If you want to make fun of us, roast us, just talk shit. We'd love to read that. You can kind of be like the hosts in Airbnb when they respond to the bad reviews. You guys can respond to us and talk shit on us too.
And we're gonna roast you back because we love that. But it'll be
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be fun
So
in a
yeah,
friendly way.
that was truly a good tip. I'm not even trying to butter your biscuit here. That was a good one. Like,
Yours was good too, man. So that's some helpful shit we just said.
now, Steve, are you a little hungry? Like, would you say you're getting a little bit hungry over there? I mean, you've been
I
working
am
hard.
hungry. I
Yeah.
am hungry.
Okay.
This
Do
next
you want to? Yeah.
is there oh man. But like I don't want chicken, I want something bigger.
And you don't want to cook, right? Like, we don't cook.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, let's get something. Maybe you just pull something out of a bag and eat, but still, meat based. You need some
Always
protein.
got to be meat based. All right. Well, here I just found this on my table here. All right, we're going to call this segment the Nomad Diet. This could be stories that Jack and I tell about some of the weird shit that we've tried while on the road. Or in this case, I'll just eat something right in front of you and you guys can see how I feel about it live on air. So today, I got some ostrich jerky.
Okay.
Wow, this is bad.
What did
Okay,
it say? What's
ostrich
that word?
jerky,
Growers? Is that like the brand or something?
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably some Afrikaans shit. So I'm in South Africa. This is local. They've got the South African flag on there. So they
Okay, I
let you
love
know, this they did not get this from Texas or whatever, wherever else ostriches may roam.
that. Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Have you
wow,
seen
this
an
is some
ostrich?
long. This is a long boy. It's
Looks a little thicker too.
kind of a boomerang,
Oh.
shape.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I think I'm just gonna dig in.
Okay. Okay.
The texture is probably the best part about it, honestly. This is gonna sound weird, but it kind of tastes like a gingerbread cookie, like a Christmas gingerbread man, but also mixed with like meat and spices a little bit. Yeah, I think the spice that they add to it or whatever, it makes it taste like gingerbread.
Is it like overpowering? Like,
it just doesn't taste that good. Like I love beef jerky. I'm a beef guy. I guess I can't call this beef jerky. It's just ostrich jerky. Not my favorite jerky, I gotta say. I would
Would you
prefer
take
a
it
different
hiking?
animal. Huh?
Okay. Would you take it hiking with you?
It's funny. I went on a hike over the weekend and we saw a wild ostrich. That's not a
Oh, for
joke.
real? Okay.
So, yeah, I don't know. That might be a little fucked up to like taunt the ostrich in front, like eat his family right in front of him.
Well, maybe it's so heavily seasoned, he won't know. Be like, oh, man, everyone's walking around eating gingerbread cookies. Little does he
True.
know
Yeah, tube shaped.
what's going on.
Not my favorite. I will say I had an ostrich Reuben the other day, and that was actually really good. Just a different form. Yeah, it was delicious. I was up in Kenya,
So
but
maybe it's really
yeah,
the
this
chef.
was yeah.
Maybe
Maybe
it's
the
like the
ostrich.
oh yeah, maybe the ostrich ate some weird stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. This ostrich could have been like really into eating cookies. I don't really know. But didn't taste that good, but I'm glad I
Steve,
got to try it. That's what traveling's all about is trying weird food.
now,
Hmm?
Steve, why don't you eat a little more? Let's see, let's give it a second shot here.
All right, dude. Well, now you have to talk to fill the airtime. I got ostrich in my mouth.
Wow. Okay, so I mean, how does it? When I eat beef jerky, it's usually like thin strips. This looks like more like sausage linky vibe.
It's kind of a meat stick. I call these meat
A meat,
sticks.
meat stick, right? That's actually what I was looking for. Okay, I prefer the flatter. I think.
Oh, flat. Yeah, those are good. Look, it's not
Yeah.
terrible. I'm probably just not going to buy it again. You know,
Okay.
it's I could probably finish this bag and just choke it down, but because I never waste an ostrich, but
You're really
it's
good
probably
with
not.
food waste
Yeah,
in
no.
general. Yeah.
Some people call me the garbage disposal.
Yeah, yeah. And many times, Steve and I be eating a meal, and he sees me slowing down, and he's like, "Jack, what are you doing with that?" So the fact that he doesn't want to eat this, I'm actually kind of surprised.
I'm like, Jack, I better not see the server take your plate away while you still have meat. If you want to waste some vegetables, like that's fine. Those can fuck off. But like, don't waste meat.
Yeah, an animal died
Meat
for
is
that.
not to be wasted. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was sacrificial meat there. Okay. All right. That's pretty good. Should we wrap up and have some closing statements?
Yeah, honestly, this is a great episode. I love this is really good. I feel like I learned a little bit about how to handle Airbnb situations. I think I never want to be an Airbnb host. Like I just never. And I think I had that feeling before, but after that, I don't want to know what goes on in some of these Airbnbs.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like cheap Airbnbs would probably be bad because you would get, I don't know, a cheap crowd. But then it's like if you have a really luxury one, then people are going to have super high expectations too. And you might get some snobby people who are going to expect a lot and you're never going to meet their expectations either. So it's like you got to find maybe a sweet spot in the middle if you're going to do it, would be my guess.
Yeah. Yes, and just never live with the Airbnb.
Yeah, have a separate thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I get maybe
Don't have
there's
them
some
share.
maybe there's a listener who can come on and be like, "Look, you don't know what you're missing." Like I get to meet people from all over the world, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. One time we slept in these people's backyard in South Dakota in a teepee. They had a teepee set up, and we went into their kitchen the next morning. They made us breakfast. They chatted with us. We had a lovely time with them, and they said they love meeting travelers, people from all over the world, and all that. So,
Oh,
some
wow.
people might like it, but yeah,
Now that's
it's all about
interesting.
finding that.
The
Yeah.
type of person who's going to book a TP is probably cooler. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like you got to be a
Yes.
little bit, okay, I'm feeling the vibe. I'm in South Dakota, like
Yeah.
relive a little bit of Fargo, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
Right.
Yeah. You're right. So again, you got to find that sweet spot.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
And then next episode, we promise we're going to do some research about the female urinary contraption, whatever that thing was called, and we'll give some more insight on that.
Maybe we'll bring an expert on. Who knows?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna find on LinkedIn like the top urinary contraption expert.
Yeah. Yeah. Make a little post or something. That would be great.
Reach out.
Send an in. Yeah.
And then, of course, I think podcasters are supposed to say something like, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, share our podcast with your friends. I don't actually know what you can even do with a podcast. I think you can leave reviews, do all that kind of good stuff to help us out if you liked it. If you didn't like it, just, maybe don't leave a review and you can just kind of go about your day. That'd be great.
Or we might respond to it like Nico, honestly.
Yeah.
You might have to take a feather out of his cap.
Yeah. We might do that, or give us a second chance even. Listen to a second episode and see if you like that one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Until then, what do we say, Jack?
Take a weird trip.
Take a weird trip. Bye, everyone.
Bye.